Hey, so today I thought I'd like to talk a little bit about the importance of physical media, which is still a bizarre term to me. Like, there's anything that's not media that's not physical, that's not tangible. It's like you have to actually clarify that physical versus non-physical. But anyway, yeah, this is going to be messy because I never prepared these things. This is always all off the top of my head. So let's see what happens. There's going to be, I think, three main points to this. And the first point is um, the one that everyone would bring up when it comes to physical media, and that is the reliability of it. That when you have it, when you own it, it's good to go. You're good to go. You can depend on it being there, right? And you can depend on it being what it is instead of you know depending on some kind of online service, um, which may drop. It could drop what you want to watch or listen to at any time, or it could alter it. It's too easy for things online, digital, to be altered or just deleted. So, um, if you don't want to run the risk of a certain movie or a certain song just simply not being available anymore, or a certain movie or a certain song maybe being re-edited or altered in some way from the original, then having it on the physical media is the way to go on that. You can, like I said, once you have it, that's the way it's going to be, and you can watch it anytime you want. You know it's there. It's going to be there. As long as you take good care of it, it'll give you a lifetime of enjoyment, and it's not going to just all of a sudden not be what it was anymore. Um, Certain scenes missing, certain lyrics missing, whatever. Um, or if the internet goes down, Wi-Fi goes down, whatever, you still got it. Um, so that's the first, and there's a little bit of preservation in that you're you know people who own physical copies of certain movies, certain albums, whatever, they're um, preserving those. They're as long as they have them, they can share them with future generations, and if they fall out of print, if they fall out of favor with the powers that be on the internet, then it's still there. Um, so there's that aspect to it as well. The more the larger preservation aspect, as well as just making sure it's there for your own enjoyment. So that's the first. The second point, reason, is, what was it? Is that it's just a better experience, and it encourages you to experience these things. If you have the physical copies, it's more likely that you are going to get the full experience with them, that you are going to interact with them, rather than just being in front of the same screen and just going through a menu and vegging out, and everything's like coming through the same wire now, and it's all coming through the same screen, and it's all kind of the same now, and you're just sitting in your same chair or same bed, whatever, and just flipping through the screens, and um, it's not as magical, and it's not as something that's going to really keep your attention, or something that's going to keep your interest, or something you're going to care about as much as when it is physical media. I know that with the music, it's more likely that if I have an album, that I'm going to listen to that entire album. Whereas if I'm just listening to it on, I don't have Spotify or any of that stuff, but it's just YouTube. But if I'm online listening to some songs, I might listen to one or two or maybe three songs by the same artist and then go on to something else. It's unlikely I'm going to listen to an entire album online, whereas with real stuff, the CD, record, cassette tape, whatever, it's more likely that I will actually put that thing in, push play, and go from beginning to end, and really get the full experience, really pay attention to it. Plus, if you have the CD, cassette, vinyl, you got the casing, you got the cover art, you got the back art, you got the sleeve, the liner notes and everything, which you can be looking at, and it's really cool. So it's a full experience there. I know that recently, a few months ago, I just discovered Sisters of Mercy through the song Lucretia My Reflection, a song I quite liked and I still listen to on a fairly regular basis. And I said to myself, well, I've got to listen to this album. The Floodland album that it's on. I've got to listen to this whole thing. And I haven't. I haven't. I have listened to most First and Last and Always, most of it, but I haven't listened to it all the way from beginning to end. Whereas if I actually had them on record or CD, chances are much higher that I would have actually listened to everything on them by now. I know I remember when Saint Anger came out, I bought it on the day that it came out. Metallica was my favorite band at that time, and so I was very excited to. This was actually the first album that they were putting out since I became a fan of theirs. I didn't become a fan until late '99 or early 2000, whatever. And so I was very excited to buy the first new album they had put out since I became a fan. And so I got it the day of, and got it out of its packaging and was looking at all the art, looking at the lyrics, and putting in the CD to play. I pushed and play, listened to it from beginning to end, while looking at the lyrics in the booklet that came with it, which is a big thing at that time. It was advertised. All the lyrics are in here because they didn't do that with the Load albums. But if it had been today, if I just experienced this through hearing a song on the internet, well, chances are I would have listened to one song and not listened to anything else. Maybe I would have listened to two, and that would have been it. Instead of actually listening to the full album. Now, granted, I wouldn't have been missing much. It's not a good album, but I wouldn't be able to talk about it. You can't talk about an album unless you've listened to it. So I wouldn't be able to talk about Saint Anger as a whole these days if I hadn't had the CD back then and actually listened to the whole thing and listened to it multiple times, trying to get into it. It was something that I wanted to like. I never quite got there, but it was something I wanted to like, so I was listening to it through several times, which would not have happened if it was online. There's a couple songs on like Hardwired to Self-Destruct that I like, but I haven't listened to the whole album because I never owned it on CD. So there's that, and then with movies, back in the day, back in my day, Sonny, back in the early 2000s, we had movie rental places. It was 80s, 90s, 2000s. Movie rental places were big, and they were awesome. Going to a movie rental place was such a great. First of all, you're leaving your house, or you're on your way back to home from work, or you're actually going out, especially to the video rental place. And So this is completely different just sitting at home and scanning a menu, just going through a menu screen on um, your streaming service. You're actually going to a special place, a special big room with full of movies, full of physical copies of the movies, and you're wandering through that place for like an hour, just picking up the cases and looking at the front cover art and then turning it around, looking at the description on the back, looking at the couple of pictures they have back there, and the rating and the runtime, and you think, hey, that's cool art, that's a cool premise, or that's a dumb premise, or whatever, and you to put it back, and you go to the next one, and you're just having a ball, just just looking at these actual, the VHS cases, the DVD cases, whatever, and just looking through all these movies. And then at the end of that, you are going to be leaving with a movie. At least one, if not two or three. And you are going to watch them. This isn't like going on your streaming service and just going through the menu and just killing time, and you may or may not pick a movie which you may or may not pay attention to or watch all the way through. No, you are going to watch this movie, and you are going to watch it all the way through. This is a special thing. You went to a special place. You chose this movie, this physical copy of this movie. You brought it home. You're putting it into your player. You're pushing play. You're grabbing your snack, and you're kicking back, and you are having that experience of watching that movie. On that From that physical place, on that physical media. It was awesome. And if this is a movie that you own in your own collection, again, you can be going through your own collection and being like, well, what do I feel in the mood for today? Oh, I like that one. Of course, I like them all. I bought them because I liked them. So, let's see, which one have I not seen in a while that in the mood for? Ooh, yeah, let me get that one. And you take it down, you put it in the player. Again, you're having that experience. And again, you're looking at the front and the back. As many times as you looked at it, you're still looking at it again. And this, you don't get that with streaming, man. Streaming is convenient. Sometimes, you find something you really enjoy, and it's and so there is some fun there. But it's a lot more fun. It really encourages you to really stick with it and follow through on whatever you're listening to or watching. And because it encourages you to actually really be into that thing for an extended period of time, it actually helps you with your focus, your what's the term I'm looking for here? Your attention span. Your attention span, right? It helps you with your attention span. To focus on a thing for an extended period of time, to be into that thing for an extended period of time, and hopefully to really be enjoying it. Which I'm going to loop back around to that, because that's really ultimately the main point of this whole thing is maximum enjoyment. But before there, I talk about that. Let me get to the third point, or third reason why physical media is important, or specifically owning physical media, and that is that it encourages, or it gets us used to owning things and used to private property. Private property is very important. It's a very important idea. It's a very important thing. Private property is a natural and proper desire and need of men. So to get people used to that, is important, and to keep them used to it is important. To have them have something that they've chosen to own and chosen to take care of and to preserve and to even defend if necessary, to have these special things that are not just a part of some service, but are these have their own unique physical realities. Physical. They're separate from everything else that you have chosen to make your own, and to cherish, and to enjoy, and to preserve, and to care about. Um, it's important for us to encourage that mindset, instead of having the mind become used to everything just being a service from the powers that be, a service, things that are provided to us from these higher powers and these bigger things. You don't want to, we don't want to get used to that too much. We want to preserve that love and respect for private property on whatever level. And it can be on that simple small level of just having these little pieces of art and entertainment that are our own. So there's that. Okay. But as I said, it really does come down to ultimately getting the most joy out of life that you can, to pull the most potential joy out of each moment, and to create those special moments in your life, to make your music listening not just another pulling up the menu, pushing select, or in your movie selection just pushing select on whatever, but to make it its own thing, by having it be its own thing, and therefore to be able to really enhance that moment as much as possible, to enhance that interaction, that enjoyment, that delight, the delight in having something special, by having each thing be its own special thing instead of just part of a menu. Right. It's streaming is convenient, obviously, to sit down and just be whatever, but being distracted is not the same thing as being entertained. And it's sure as heck not the same thing as enjoying yourself or being delighted. Too often the streaming thing can just be a distraction. Just be the music becomes background noise, the movie becomes background noise, or just something to kind of just daze out. Maybe a little bit of a drug thing, just phase out on that thing, and you're not really getting the most out of your evening that way, and you're not getting the most out of your life that way. It's and it's the same with video games. I mean, instead of going, I just thought of it with instead of, I don't know how they work now. You go online and you just sign up for a service and click on whatever game you want to play in the cloud or whatever, or maybe some of them have just a memory chip, or maybe some still have discs. Maybe does the PlayStation still have discs? Does the maybe it does, but man, I grew up in the days when Nintendo had cartridges, and I loved those cartridges, man. They were awesome. They were cool. And when Nintendo switched to disc with the GameCube, I was like, what are you doing? Discs aren't anywhere near as cool as those cartridges. They were, the way they felt in your hand, they were bulky, and it was just such a physical thing. And plus, there was no load time, and it was just, yeah, it was really cool. And again, it's having that sense of this thing being very much its own thing in this bulky cartridge, and the joy of whether you're renting it or whether you own it, of holding it in your hand and being like, I got this. I may have it only for the weekend, or I may have it actually whenever I get around to playing it, but I got this. It's right here. Not only blow on it and see if I can get in the player right. Also, of course, with home, physical media, you don't have to worry about ads. You don't have to worry about commercials. And I haven't mentioned books yet. Books are definitely in the category, and they're awesome. And if ebooks are convenient, but they suck. To read a book on a screen, it sucks. To have the light from the screen just going straight into your eyes and burning your eyes and burning your brain, and just tapping the screen to turn the page, and or just going like that, or to scroll up. Oh my gosh, to have a real book is a much, much better experience. You've got the real book in your hands. It feels good in your hands to hold a real book in your hands, and then you got the real pages and that you can physically turn, and you got the ink on the page with the natural lighting just kind of reflecting off, and you just curl up with that, and you can even smell it, because books smell good. It's a much better experience to have a real book, and they don't have ads, and they don't need batteries or power of any sort. You don't need to plug them in. You don't need to recharge them. Books are, they're awesome, and you got some books on your shelf. They're there whenever you need them. No further subscription fee required. No electricity required. Nothing. They're your good friends, ready to delight you whenever. So anyway, I guess this video has gone on long enough. So I hope I've said what I meant to say in a way that was intelligible. So yeah, physical media, it's cool, and if used, it can be a wonderful part of it. With the breakfast cereal, they're like a part of a nutritionally balanced breakfast or something like that. Part. When it comes to that stuff, it's a small part, but really people treat it as the whole thing, right? But when it comes to these things, they're best as a part of a whole life, not as your life, or as even your life separate from work. When in the late 80s and through the 90s, back when video games were blowing up then with Nintendo and Sega, they were big, but there were no gamers back then. There was no such a thing as a gamer. We enjoyed video games. They were cool, but they were a part of our life. They weren't our life. And plus, they were more social too. If you wanted to play with somebody, you had to go to that person's house, or they came to yours, and you ate that delicious gas station pizza and stuff, and it was fun. Instead of just playing online. Wait a minute, I just lost my train of thought. I guess that's the signal for me to shut up. That was just saying that, these can be a part of a full life, but as long as they're not just plugging into the streaming and wasting, And anyway, I'll shut up. Thanks for listening. Bye.